I think that what I would like to look at as my career continues is creating films that affect the way people feel about the world as much as what they know about it. And I think there's a profound difference there. I mean, there are things in this world that are of concern, such as selfishness or narcissism or other things that impact one's ability to participate in the process of change. And there's also very narrow ways in which people look at the world or experience the world. You know, they only watch certain kinds of television shows, or they only expose themselves to certain very narrow aspects of the society. So I think film can be a way in which people broaden their horizons of life, or enhance their knowledge of the world without necessarily encouraging them to get out and directly participate in making a difference. People can make a difference in many, many, many different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean they need to know all of the dirty secrets of all of the evil and bad things. There's a lot of that out there, and there's a lot of that going on. I think there's other ways to encourage people to um, broaden their horizons. I think humanity today is faced with a multiplicity of daunting and potentially insurmountable issues. I mean, there's a smorgasbord out there of issues for us to deal with, everything from global warming to population to energy to uh, toxicity of the environment to food production to terrorism and violence and nuclear proliferation. I mean, there, you take your pick, there's plenty to work on. So I don't think there's any shortage of issues in the world today, nor do I think there's any shortage of avenues of information either. I think that there is a lot of ways with the rise of the internet that's gone on in the last 8 to 10 years, and the multiplicity of cable satellite programming, news channels. I think there's a lot of ways to get information about what's going on in the world, and I think there are a lot of outlets as to applying yourself. I mean, there's no shortage of opportunities for people to participate in making the world a better place. So I don't know if things are the same as they were 10 or 15 years ago in terms of what's really going on in the world and what can I do about it. And in light of that, I'm not sure where my career is taking me as a filmmaker. I think that film has many ways in which it can affect people and uh, allow them to have experiences they wouldn't normally have. While it is much more popular now to investigate with the camera and to use the camera and use the medium to uncover injustice or to look into inequities in the world, what's also changed are the means of distribution. And distribution is not as fluid or available as it once was. It was 10 or 15 years ago, you could get to more people through fewer outlets. The key to that, it was harder to get on those outlets, but you could get to more people. Now there's a lot more outlets. There's much fewer people seeing each outlet. And the other thing that has changed is that I wonder now, at this point in time, to what degree documentaries can be a part of changing the way the world is. I'm beginning to see a lot more preaching to the choir than providing something that's insightful and unusual and unexpected to people so that they might watch it and perhaps change their point of view. I see less changing of points of view and more entrenched uh, dedication to static points of view and static positions. And I wonder if documentaries can really continue to be an agent of change as opposed to just spin machines to keep people involved in whatever their ongoing points of view are. I would say there are probably two things that I think are interesting challenges that people are trying to wrap their heads around and are continuing to try and present. One is, who's really running the show in the world? Who's really in charge? Is it nation states with big armies? Is it bankers? Is it secret societies? Is it something we don't know about. And I think for people to continue to have a sense of empowerment, I think it's important that they understand who's really pulling the strings in the society that they're a part of. So that's one thing. The other thing I think I'd like to make a film about, if it was ever possible, is, do extraterrestrials really exist? And that's an ongoing question that many people are fascinated with. And in my work with crop circles and in my other work with other people involved in this field, I am pretty convinced that there is valid material there to research. It's just very difficult to get down to the bottom line. But I think that the existence of extraterrestrials and who they are and what they are and, you know, what they're about is something that I think most people are curious about, and I think it would be transformative to have something that is substantive and verifiable and concrete in this area. I don't know if that could ever actually be done, because you need access. And access to what, I'm not even sure. But from what I can tell and from what I can see, it's not poppycock. It's not a fool's errand. There is something real there and something substantive. And I think that if something like that were to be made, it would have an impact on the world.